My name is Luke McGee. Brian and I work alongside each other the whole year, and then once the boats kind of get selected towards the summer, he's coaching the 4 and I end up coaching the 8 for the World Championships or the Olympic Games.
Same boats, same lineups, 16 dead, same 8s.
So tell us a little bit about your own rowing experience and then how you got into coaching,
Sure.
if that's something you expected to do.
Not necessarily. So I rowed in high school in Chicago, a little place, a school called Loyola Academy. We actually rowed in downtown Chicago in the Lincoln Park Lagoon. It was like 1,000 meters long, so we turned a lot. We got really good at spinning. And then I rowed at Brown when I went to school. I rowed at Oxford for a year, and then rowed on the national team for a number of years with Brian. And then when my career is kind of winding down after '04, it just happened that the freshman job at Brown opened up, and I knew the coach there. And he called up, asked me if I was interested in giving it a go. And it seemed like an easy transition for me. It was a pretty easy job search, I guess, where I think it was about a week where I just kind of went up there and interviewed and then was offered the job and kind of went off from there. I think people are asking, hey, what are you going to do for a real job when you're done coaching? And I just kind of stuck with it. Luckily, I had some success with it. And then I moved on to the University of Washington in Seattle, was there for 5 years, had a great time coaching out there. And then this job came calling after the 2012 Olympics.
Do you feel prepared, or was that intimidating in some ways?
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a step up. I mean, not so much intimidating, more exciting. I think the opportunity to coach at the highest level and to test yourself against the best coaches in the world, coaches from England and New Zealand and Germany. It's a real challenge, but it's also incredibly exciting.
Who is your most memorable coach and why?
Oh, wow. It's interesting. I feel like my career, I've had a lot of different timing, I guess, kind of through my career. You have, if it was university or over at Oxford or on their national team, I think they each really display like a different component. How my college coach, Scott Roop, it was really about hard work, putting in the time, putting the effort. He was a good blue-collar, hard-nosed coach, which was a good foundation, I think. Sean Bowden at Oxford was super technical, a little bit more physiological work and that kind of knowledge. And then Mike Tatey was kind of the high end. He'd been to the Olympics, he'd medaled at the Olympics, he had coached at the Olympics, and so he was kind of the high end elite coach. So they each had their own piece, I guess.
Is there any specific behavior, mannerisms that you kind of stole from one of your coaches that you're now embodying with these athletes?
I don't know. I mean, I think that'd probably be an interesting question for the guys. I bet there probably is, but that's always an interesting one. I think the funny thing for coaches is like the way, like the stories you may tell or the way you may act, you may not think that that's a really big deal, and then all of a sudden, like, you have an opportunity to sit down with the guys and they spit back some story at you, and you're like, I don't even remember telling that, and it's some like huge moment for them. That was, especially when you're coaching like the younger guys. Like when I was coaching freshmen, they would come back with a story, and you're like, did I even say that? But it's some like massively transformative moment for them in their rowing career.
So it's not saying, blending it, still getting that body weight to transition to the front of the seat, finding that feeling, and then just being a little bit more gentle when we release the knees so we don't disrupt the tonal function.
You're in charge of the men's 8. Break down how they did at Worlds and sort of explain how you need to still qualify.
Yeah, sure.
People don't know how that progresses.
Yeah, sure. So the progression for the World Championship the year before the Olympics is one of the qualifying regattas for the Olympic Games. And so each boat class has to finish a certain position or higher, certain placing or higher to automatically qualify for the Olympics. And so the men's 8 this past World Championships was disappointing. They had to finish 5th, and they had a tough regatta. They actually ended up finishing 7th. So they still have to go and qualify for the Olympics, and that's in May over in Lucerne, Switzerland. We're definitely talented to get it done. We should get it done. I think I'm fully confident that we will. It just adds a little bit of stress to it and maybe kind of changes the schedule a little bit, where we have to be ready to race a little bit earlier in the year instead of the beginning of August in Rio. We have to kind of get up and be ready to go in the middle of May.
The first few strokes of it, try and actually see if we get a sense of getting one more rotation on the seat as we build up.
So, we talked about this a little bit in August about how, getting that spot at Worlds is like punching your ticket.
Sure.
How does it sort of change the dynamic of the team and the guys who are trying out when they're not just looking at the Olympics, they have to get that spot first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it doesn't change it too much. Like I said, I think it just kind of delays or just adds a little bit of stress to the year where it still has to be, the job has to be done in May. it's a little bit different. We're a little bit different than some other countries or smaller boats where, if they qualify for the Olympics or the World Championships the year before, really that is punching their ticket. Those people are going to the Olympics. And for us, it's qualifying the boat class. So, so the men's 4, when they qualify for the Olympics, those 4 guys aren't qualified, but that boat is. So those 4 guys can still change during the year. So what we do during the year actually doesn't really change very much. And this is something that happened before 2012 too. Like the men's 8 had to go qualify in Lucerne before the 2012 Olympics in London. It doesn't really change kind of how we train or how we select it. Like I said, it just really kind of changed the timing of it, and it adds a little bit of stress in the sense like we're going through the year with that slight unknown where it's not the guaranteed spot yet.
A little bit sharper, up there, Kate. A little slow to the water. Pick it up. Right in and bend and hold. Got to get it early and bounce.
So obviously you spend a ton of time with your athletes. Especially in this Olympic year. Explain all the different roles you play as a coach and how you balance them.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, it's different than college coaching. I mean, these guys are adults, and so they have a life outside of rowing. It's important for them to be able to kind of keep that balance. I think that obviously you're playing that encouraging role. You also have to play that role of the cop sometimes, where you're kind of holding them to a pretty hard standard, which is necessary. And every athlete's kind of different, and kind of how you treat them is important. Some guys really react to being pushed pretty hard. Some guys need a little bit more of kind of a softer hand, and just kind of pulling them aside and having a bit more of a conversation with them. But I think the thing that's important for our sport, because we're a really a quintessential team sport, is that everyone is treated the same across the board, and there's real kind of transparency with what we do, and everyone understands that regardless of kind of who you are, your background, everyone has the same opportunity to make this team. And if you're performing and you're winning when it really matters most, kind of when it comes down to the business end of the year, then you're going to be in there. And those are the guys that, as a teammate, like if I were in that boat, that's the guy that I would want in there.